What's up, everyone? In today's video, we're going to talk about the SPY, the dollar, the bonds, the NASDAQ, the IWM, and we're also going to start the video off with a clip from our live stream today, because you guys have to know how amazing the calls basically are intraday, and I'm going to go ahead and start that up right now. I'm just saying, where is this low right here? The low of the day was 357.67. Ended up bouncing very, very aggressively. Within the hour, we shot up over a percentage. Right here, we bounced at 357, all the way to basically 362. So clearly, if you guys are not watching the live stream, you guys should. If you guys are not in the Discord, you guys should be in the Discord. But aside from that, let's go ahead and take a look at the daily chart on the SPY. I lied. Before we take a look at the daily chart on the SPY, I want to show you guys that there is absolutely zero important news coming out tomorrow for the macro. So intraday, there's nothing important, absolutely zilch. So tomorrow should be a fun day to day trade. Now, taking a look at this garbage chart, all right? Two things catch my attention automatically, right? Number one, this upper level of the Bollinger Band is vomiting, all right? Usually when that happens, it means that there's not going to be as much room to the upside, okay? So if you just look at the upper level of the Bollinger Band numbers, you can see that number. It's the middle number, the blue middle number, right? And you can see it fell from 410.60, 408, 403, 397. So it's starting to get a little strong to the downside, right? So as this continues falling and falling and falling, the upside potential that we have also drastically falls as well. Does that make sense? So essentially, as this ends up, say for example, this falls another 15 points in the next 3 days, right? For us to get a bounce, I mean, if we do end up getting a bounce, right, to the Bollinger Bands, this would be very overextended algorithmically to the upside if we start breaking above it. So that's basically holding, like it's a big factor of why the maximum potential to the upside is not going to sustain itself, because the Bollinger Bands and the standard deviation is falling so dramatically. The other thing is the lower level of the Bollinger Bands are moving up, right? But they're not moving up as substantially as the upper level is moving down, right? Cool. The second thing is this MACD level still has more room to go to the downside. This is clearly a bearish setup, right? I mean, if we end up bouncing overnight or whatever happens, honestly, this 358 level is actually like very, very important. So we could end up holding this level of support and retesting this trend line here, or at least retesting 365 to 364. Because what we see during bearish moves is we don't see clear-cut retests of levels of resistance. Say, for example, a clear level of resistance is like 370, right? So we break below 370. We're at 369 now. So if we get a retest, it makes sense that we get a retest at 370. But what has been ending up happening is fall down to 369. We only get a retest of 369.50. So we never touch the level of resistance. So that's why in terms of bounces, we won't necessarily touch the bouncing target perfectly. That's what I mean. So it makes sense to get a bounce back to this trend line, but because we're in a bearish environment, it's not an automatic guarantee. Now, basically, the other thing is we held this level, the low, right? The most prior low. But immediately, this looks very, very bearish. So unless you went long at the bottom, it's very tough to basically swing long overnight. And it's also tough to go short again because you're basically going short after 2 major red days, and you're basically going short at support. So that's not as safe as it was going short over here into strength, because going short into strength at support is different than going short at support after a lot of weakness. So going short here is just way more aggressively short. It's not the safest trade to make. But going short up here, as the market was showing strength, that is shorting the strength. So that's another difference, essentially. I hope you guys understand. But overall, the 358 level is going to be very, very important. Then we just have to trade the levels, right? My overall thesis is for the next few weeks, we should end up breaking lower. We should end up breaking below 347. That would be the easiest thing. Would be is if for the next few weeks we end up falling and making newer lows and lows. We end up breaking below 340. 350, 347, and we start hovering around 340 to 343. And then from there, it would be amazing to get a very strong aggressive bounce back up to 360, back up to 365, whatever it may be. But right now, the pattern looks very, very bearish. And it's not the safest pattern to basically trade overnight with aggression. All right. So there's that for the SPY. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. It's gonna be the same. So basically you can see that the NASDAQ is at the lower level of the Bollinger Bands already, right? And what we saw during bear markets is that the NASDAQ stocks can trade outside of the lower level of the Bollinger Band for much longer, right? So the fact that we're here, and if this continues going up higher, the NASDAQ can start trading outside of the lower Bollinger Band. And that could end up having us come and retest 258, which is this 618% fib level from the March lows to the all-time highs. So once again, these are the levels down here where it's going to basically be like a make or break decision for the overall market. If we end up breaking down below 260 and 258, then we're going to really, really show a lot of weakness down into 250 to 240s. All right, so technically, if you ever want to go long, you have to go long at support. I understand. We're basically at support for everyone that, because a lot of people are thinking that we're going to have a turnaround Tuesday. We're going to bounce Tuesday, Wednesday into CPI and then fall. They are making it very difficult to go long because this setup looks absolutely garbage. And yeah, it looks really, really terrible. Ideally, the safest time to basically go long is going to end up being a similar situation if this Bollinger Band sharply moves up again, and hopefully the NASDAQ can start showing a lot of weakness to the downside. We're going to trade the overextensions to the downside with calls. And that would be the safest opportunity to go long, because right now we're very, very close to the lower level of the Bollinger Band. There's a lot of cascading momentum potentially that can still happen. So like I said, you know, since we're in a bearish market, the only time that I want to go swing long is when we are very algorithmically overextended to the downside. And currently we are not algorithmically overextended to the downside. Algorithmically overextension would be trading outside of this lower level of the Bollinger Band. So we can see from the SPY and the NASDAQ that the setup looks garbage. And also you can see that we're comfortably trading below the 50% fib on the IWM, which is a Russell 2000. So that is also not good, really. So there's not much to look at with the Russell. Obviously, the MACDs, everything is still bearish. The bonds made newer lows, which is basically the reason why the market overall continued falling. And the dollar had a bit of a bounce. So now the thing to look at with the dollar is there is at least 1 or 2 more days left for the MACD to comfortably continue upwards. So right here, we're about to cross above. Okay. As we're about to cross above, generally there's at least 1 or 2 more days that we can easily continue going up higher. So that could be the case with the dollar, just according to the MACD. So it would be very interesting to see if that's the case. We are also closing above these candle bodies here. So technically we can continue up higher, but it is not the time to go short because we are at support. Once again, it's not a time to enter into any new aggressive shorts because we're literally at support. So the only time that you would want to go short, is at levels of resistance like we were here. You definitely don't really want to go short after a move to the downside already happened, unless we start breaking down below support. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to tune into everything. Tune into the live streams, the Discord, everything, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.